Hey everyone, this is Sarah Rowlett with the Kentucky Career Center. We're continuing our Workforce Wednesday for Section 2 with Mr. Robert Byers with the Woodforest National Bank. This series, we're going to talk about opening a bank account. Thank you so much again for joining us, Robert.
Yeah, thank you, Sarah, and hello to everyone out there watching this. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about what it takes to open up an account, what that process looks like, and helping you be prepared. Because I think a lot of times frustration can start at this process of opening up an account and not understanding what the bank is looking for, but also understanding what you need as a person before you open up a bank. So as you're opening up a bank, determining what type of an account you need is very important. And see, these are some of the things that are going to be associated with your account: the safety and security of your account, earning interest depending on the type of account, convenience, how easy is it for you to get money or to get rid of money from your account? Is there, fees for certain things? Relationship building. What's your relationship at the bank or financial institution? And then consumer protection. You don't want identity theft or anything to happen to your account. So that's very important. So these are some things that will be discussed as you're opening up account, regardless of what bank you go to. These are things that they want to touch on. So, like I said, I think in the previous webinar that we had, some people are more in person, some people are online. But now they have bank accounts where you literally don't have to go into the bank. You can set up an account online. And I think that, kind of bodes to what type of convenience features that you're looking for. So understanding how to complete the application if you're doing it online is very important so that you don't miss any information and you understand the products and services that that bank has. And then verifying who you say you are. So as a bank or credit union, they have to report every single new account to the government. And so they have to show the government that they can verify that this is a legitimate person and that this person is real and alive. So I see a lot of times, sometimes, banks ask for secondary documents if, let's say, for example, your driver's license is less than 60 days old. So if you have a brand new driver's license, they may ask for other documentation. That is nothing, don't take that personal. That is nothing against you personally. That's something that they have to show the government. So, because in recent years, most people who have had brand new driver's license have had fraud. So it's not that they don't trust who you are. It's just based on fraud and other histories. People with brand new accounts, a lot of times it's a fake account, and they use that account to embezzle money or to kind of get money around. So definitely, if you have new ID, be prepared to bring in maybe a bill like a utilities bill or cell phone bill that verifies your address, because that's all the bank really wants to do is verify you and verify your address. Decide on whether to opt in, and we'll talk about this in further detail as well. The opt in is really basic around overdrafts and overdraft fees. I know, I think all of us has either known somebody or we ourselves have had an overdraft fee. And so understanding how the bank can protect you is very important. And then making your first deposit. Banks want you to put money in when you open up an account. They don't want you to open up an account and then leave it at $0 for weeks at a time, because that was another way people were doing fraudulent activity. So a lot of times they want you to make a deposit. Receiving the disclosures and signed documents. That's very important. Always read over whatever you're signing your name next to so that you can agree. Because if you sign and you don't read and then it comes back on you, even if you try to take them to court, they can use certain documentation against you. So make sure you're reading everything to a T. And it may be tedious, but it's definitely worth reading. And then activate account tools and ask questions. Asking questions is very important. There's no dumb question. I know sometimes people maybe feel embarrassed that, oh, if I ask them this question, they're going to think I'm stupid or they're going to think I don't know what I'm doing. But that's not the case. I mean, there's a lot of people who work at banks that still have to ask questions. So Making sure that you ask the questions and you get the answers you need before you leave the bank or before you sign off online is very important. And I definitely recommend doing that. Bank history reports. This is something very, very important. So when you open up a bank account, just kind of like with a credit check when you're trying to get a car or a house, there is a banking history report. So they pull your bank history to see if you've had any closed accounts that were closed because of overdraft fees, if you had any fraudulent activity. They want to make sure that they can trust you opening up a bank account. So a lot of people don't know, okay, well, if I had a bad banking experience in my past, I'm probably never going to be able to open up another account. Well, actually, you may be able to. And, there's different situations that banks are willing to look over. I see a lot of people where they have joint accounts and maybe they weren't the person doing the fraudulent activity. Maybe it was the other person on the account that was doing it, but it still gets put on their history. So understanding what's on your record and what's on your history is very important. You get a free banking history report every 12 months. Go to the next slide. So the two biggest companies are check systems and uh, early warning. So if you go to www.checksystems.com, you can literally print out a banking history of all the banks that you've worked with or dealt with in the past, and if they flagged you for anything. Same with early warning. And that way, if you have that with you before you open up account and you can explain what happened at that particular time with that particular bank, sometimes banks are able to override that and still get you an account. So if you don't do that and you just walk into a bank and they pull check systems and you don't have any explanation, then they may say, hey, we can't open up an account. But if you already understand what's going to be on your report and you can explain why, a lot of times managers may be able to sign off. So it's very important to understand what's on your banking history. And like I said, it could have been where you had a joint account with someone else. It could have been where it could have been fraudulent activity that you knew nothing about that caused you to be overdrawn. So those type of situations are very easy to ignore. And if you ignore them, then it could cost you money in the long run with opening up a bank account. So possible options. So the challenge and the consider. If you don't have a lot of money that you're putting in the bank, you really can't afford monthly fees to be taken out, then always ask, is there a free type of checking account? What do I have to do to maintain a free account? Because believe it or not, most all banks have some type of checking account that will be that considered free. Now, there may be certain things that you have to do for it to be free. For example, you may have to set up direct deposit. So if you're not able to set up direct deposit, there may be a fee, or you may have to keep, let's say, just at least $100 in it at all times. If you can't do that, there may be a fee. But understanding what it is to make sure your account is free or low cost, that is very important that you ask the bank and that you do your research on. Speaking back to your bank history, so second chance accounts, if you have some things on check systems or if you owe another bank, most banks set up a second chance account where it is a small fee. But if you stay in good standing for a year with that bank, you can switch it over to an account. And let me just make a point. So even a second chance account, to the time it's maybe a service fee, $10 a month. If you don't have an account and you're going to get your cash or going to get your check cashed and getting put it on a prepaid card and then have to hit fees with at the ATM machine, you're still going to pay a lot more money for your money doing that process than having a second chance account. Second chance account is going to be a lot cheaper than you having to go get your check cashed every 2 weeks or every week and then still trying to load it on a card and then only being able to use certain ATMs. So a lot of people don't realize that, but you can save a lot of money even with the second chance account. And then credit building, credit report and low credit scores. So most all banks and credit unions have secured credit cards or secured loans where you put money aside, you freeze it, and you use that as collateral as you build your credit. No social security number. So a lot of times banks need other identification. So maybe a passport or other types of identifications that can confirm you are a real and living person. Cannot open a particular account. Uh, if they say there's nothing we can do, then last resort can be a prepaid card. So the biggest takeaways from here is knowing the general process for opening savings and checking account, including the options if you're initially unable to open up account. So I would say the biggest thing is make sure you get that free banking history report through check systems, and understand what you're eligible for. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Robert, for our banking series. I want to thank all our viewers for participating and viewing out there. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week on Workforce Wednesday.